Hello and welcome to From Scratch. Today we're going to be making some tasty broth, and this is going to be a really easy recipe that anybody can do. You can have a small crock pot, you can do this in a big crock pot, you can scale it up, scale it down, and you can also store this broth for future use. So this is we're going to be using some chicken bones that we would otherwise be discarding. These are all bones that we used for previous meals, and then we took the meat off and put them in soups and casseroles, and we kept the bones so that we can make broth out of them. As we accumulate bones, we just go ahead and put them in a freezer bag, put them in freezer camp, and then pull them out when we're ready to make broth. So there's a couple things you can do with this. You can just throw the bones in as is, or you can chop the bones so you can get more of the marrow and the collagen in your broth. It's kind of a personal choice and how much effort you want to put in. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to cut a few of those bones, and then we'll go ahead and get started with this. So I'm going to call my husband in to help support cutting some of these chicken bones for me. So,
do you want to get a bowl first to put the...
No, we're just doing a couple of them. So, because we're going to just show that you can do it both this way or the other way.
All right.
Still good.
Do you want to use a bowl for this?
Yeah. So we're going to show you how to cut the chicken bone too. So if you want to, you can throw them in, or you can go ahead and cut them so you can get a lot of that yummy marrow, which is full of nutrients and lots of collagen, which is good for your skin and good for your body. So we're using shears to cut these bones. You can also use a meat cleaver, a butcher knife. What else? A machete. Just whatever you happen to have lying around.
Rocks and sticks?
Rocks and sticks. Okay.
Score.
Right. That's probably good enough. Just do a few of them, or do a couple more maybe, and I'll bring in the crock pot. Feel good. Right. So now we've gone ahead and cut a few of the chicken bones so we can get more of the marrow. I kind of want to show that it's not something that has to be done that way. So we're going to go ahead and add these to our crock pot. Just put them in. So these are the ones that we went ahead and chopped up. We'll be filtering this through a strainer later, so we're not worrying about the little bits that end up in here. All right, and we're just gonna hit the frozen chicken, just throw it right in. We don't need to be super fancy about it. Now, you might have more than what you can fit in. In that case, just save it for the next round of making broth. So I'm gonna go ahead and just position as much chicken as I can in here because we really want to make sure this broth is nice and strong. So now we've added all the chicken to the crock pot, and I'm just going to fill it with water, filtered water from the refrigerator. You're going to fill the crock pot so that all the chicken bones are covered in water. So this was 4 cups. I'm going to probably need another cup so I can get the last of this. And you probably don't want to go above the line in your crock pot that separates the bowl part from the rim. But we're going to go ahead and get a little bit more water. We're going to just add a little bit more water here. And there we go. So now we're just going to put a lid on it. We're going to go ahead and turn it to high for an hour to get it nice and warm. And then we're going to go ahead and turn it to low for the next 23 hours and just let this thing cook. Basically, you can just walk away at this point and start making anything else you want to make. With this broth that we're making, you're going to be able to turn this into a delicious chicken noodle soup. You can use it for any recipes that require broth. You can turn it into a gravy. You can use it for a ramen bowl made at home. So there's just so many uses for this, and we're going to show you how to store this so that it takes up the least amount of freezer space and is able to maximize your ability to make yummy food. Doing a solid for your future self. We're going to show you in the next part how to store it in a way where all you have to do is put a few simple ingredients together and you have a soup in a cup or a family meal. So thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to take our broth that we started yesterday and put it in, let it cool off, strain it out, and send it to freezer camp. So how I like to do this is I like to have a metal bowl or a glass bowl, and then I have the strainer that has kind of larger holes, and then this one that's got the fine mesh. I feel like this captures enough of the things I don't want to stay in my broth that I'm pretty happy with this. Now, if you want to have like super, super clear broth, you can add cheesecloth to this and reuse it and wash it. But I personally, I don't mind a little bit of debris here and there. So mostly what this is going to not capture is maybe a little bit of skin, a little bit of fat, a little bit of gristle, which doesn't bother me. So I'm not going to do the cheesecloth, but if it bothers you, put the cheesecloth in and just use that when you're straining. So now this is going to be still pretty hot. Not terribly hot, but hot enough you're going to want to use something to protect your hands from the heat. So we're going to go ahead, just take the lid off. And I'm just going to pour this broth with all the chicken bones and everything into this bowl. And it just smells absolutely amazing right now. All right, so let's go ahead and start pouring that. And I'm just going to dump all of the bones into my strainer so that I can drain out all of the broth. All right. All right, and then we go ahead and just let that strain for a few moments. You can see I'm still getting a little bit from the colanders, and I like using this strainer because then, you know, I can move it around to kind of release all the juice that gets trapped from the different layers. All right, now I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out. I don't need it anymore. I've got my broth, and we're done with this portion. Now take a look at that beautiful broth. You can see you can see on the top there's just a little bit of layer of fat going on, and you've got this beautiful, beautiful yellow color. It's just perfect broth, perfect for chicken noodle soup, perfect for ramen bowls, perfect for just so many uses. Again, you can make chicken gravy with this if you want. One thing I didn't do is you can also add vegetables to this when you're cooking it for the simmer for 24 hours. I didn't do that this time, but you can add carrots and celery and ends of onion to this. And if I'm looking to add extra flavor with vegetables in my broth, then I'll sit and get a freezer bag, and I'll put all my carrot ends and celery ends and onion ends in a bag and just kind of like accumulate it over a period of time in the freezer, and then I just throw everything in when I'm getting ready to start my simmering. But this one here, just straight chicken broth and chicken bone broth. It's got the marrow, it's got the collagen, just all that good stuff right here. Now we're going to let this cool off. So now that you've let your broth cool off a little bit, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of my favorite ways to store my broth now that it's been made. So this item here is a silicone mold. I like to call it pods. I can make broth pods with this. Each section holds about a half cup of broth. And I have 7 sections, so this will hold about 3.5 cups of this broth. Another one of my favorite items is this Super Cube storage, freezer storage unit. This allows you to store in half cup and 1 cup increments, and it's just a nice little block. And then I also have this one here. It's another super block. It has 1 and 2 cup portion, so a little bit bigger. This will be a full 2 cups, whereas the other one was half cup or full cup if you go to the top line. This is for more like family size meals. This one I use more for just my husband and I. If we're gonna just have something, the 2 of us, I'll do a cup. And then this one here is perfect for soup in a cup. So if you're just wanting some soup all by yourself on a rainy, cold day, or if you're going to take it to work, this is a great solution for creating soup in a cup. I have a lot of these right now, so I'm going to probably be focusing today on just doing soup in a cup. So I'll be putting them in these pods right here. So to get started, we're just going to go ahead and place the pods next to the broth, and I'm going to use this little ladle that I got on Amazon. These pods, by the way, the pods and the super cubes all can be purchased on Amazon. Easy to find and just really incredibly useful. The other benefit of using pods and freezing them this way is once the broth is frozen, they take up a lot less room in your freezer because you're able to stack them, and it makes storing them so much easier. And easier to access when you're ready to make that bowl of soup. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Gently put them in. So just as a reminder, don't overfill your pods because they do expand when frozen. And it takes about, for the half cup, this will be ready in 24 hours. If you're doing the 1 cup or 2 cup portion, I'd give it 2 days in the freezer before taking them out as blocks of broth. My daughter, who works at the hospital, she's able to take these and make quick bowls of chicken and rice soup and adds a few vegetables to make it kind of give it an extra nutritional boost. Now, I've got all my pods filled, and all I'm going to do is put the lid on. And we're going to go ahead and set this one aside. Now, I still have some broth left, so I'm going to go ahead and fill up 1 cup portions because for me, I like having the versatility of being able to choose a 1 or 2 cup. So if I'm going to do a family meal, I'll just grab 2 blocks. Whereas if I use this one, I know I'm going to, this is definitely only for a family size meal. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and fill this up. There we go. Now this has a fill line, so I know when to stop, so I don't overfill my cube. And we're going to go ahead and add some on this side too. I feel like I'm going to have just a little bit more than I need. Okay. All right, so here we go. Here we go. We'll just add a little here, add a little here. Make sure we get all that yummy broth. All right, now I was able to get 3.5 cups here of broth, and I have another 2 cups here. So the 2.5 quart crock pot that I used for making this yielded 5.5 cups of finished broth. Not bad. 1 cup of broth for me, I'll usually use one of these for about, I'll use 1 pod to 2 cups, 1.5 to 2 cups of water when I'm making a chicken soup. And all I do is I take a block and I throw it in along with, once the broth melts, I'll go ahead and add my chicken, my vegetables and barley, rice, or beans, anything you want to your chicken soup. So we'll go ahead and set that aside for now. And just to show you what this looks like when it's done. So this is from my last batch of chicken bone broth. This is what this will turn into when it's done. Makes it super easy to store. So here's a 1 cup portion of chicken broth that I made from my last batch. I'll pop that into a pot, let it melt, and then add my water and the rest of my ingredients. As easy as that. So let me know if you've ever made chicken broth or if you tried the recipe and how it turned out for you. Also, if you have any suggestions for ways to how you freeze your broth or how you store your broth, I'd love to hear in the comments below. Don't forget, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this channel and enjoyed watching me make chicken broth. Please support our channel. Thank you and have a great day. Make sure you stay safe in the kitchen.
If you enjoyed our video today, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments.